And he has a question here. Ukrainian-born John Demjanuk, 89, was deported to Germany. He is to face alleged charges of helping to kill 29,000 Jews during World War II and will be imprisoned in Munich. When will this travesty stop? Was not enough blood spilled by communist Zionists?
Well, if you go back, Demenchek was tried in Israel, and he was represented by Zionist lawyers, and he won his case, and that was maybe 10 years ago, and he came back to the United States, and they swore up and down that he was at, if my memory serves me correctly, at Sobibor, which is one of the what they call death camps. On the other hand, they're saying that he was in another camp now. Maybe it was at a different period of time. I don't know. I don't know whether the man's guilty or innocent, but I do know that he's been proven innocent previously. So maybe they just got it on for this guy. I don't know. He's 89 years old, and they're dragging him all over the world. And he'll probably die before he ever gets to trial. And I don't know what's behind it. Maybe it's facts of what's going on. Maybe it's not. I just can't say because I just don't know. All I know is that it's happened before, and he was not guilty.
Why would they do that to an 89?
Well, passions run deep.
Yeah.
And I think that I can understand why people who are at that camps would want someone.
Yeah.
If he was at a camp and was a very, very nasty person, or even worse, a murderer, why they would want him put in jail for the rest of his life. But I also think that in the scheme of things, I don't see any of these prosecutors going after the Jews who were capos at all of these camps, who were every bit as vicious and evil as the Nazis were. So I throw that out. I mean, if you're going to go after this guy, it's okay. But let's go after the rest of them.
Here's another question here. As Russian military flexes its muscles to celebrate this victory over Nazi Germany, May 8th, NATO troops, 1,300 of them from 10 member countries and 6 partners, were beginning their months-long cooperative Longbow Lancer war games on the Russian southern border. The parade was the largest display of military might since the Soviet times. The president warned that Russia was ready to respond to any challenge. Is NATO signaling to Russia by its war games in Georgia?
They sure are. And they're challenging Russia. They're politically causing trouble. And they did the same thing with the proposal to place missiles in Poland near the Russian border, and also the radar in the Czech Republic. And the excuse was that Iran was going to shoot missiles at Europe. I mean, you've got to be dumber than dumb to believe that. But, that's the kind of people who run government from behind the scenes and have their actors like Caligula and Nero here to do their bidding for them. And it's quite transparent what they're doing. You don't have to be versed in political history to figure out what these guys are up to. And the Russians know that. And again, quite frankly, the Russians are the good guys. I mean, it's as simple as that. They haven't done anything. And so they had a parade saying, hey, you want to come over the border, come on over. We'll kick your can again, just like we did here about 9 months ago. And there were a number of American mercenaries as well as Mossad mercenaries who were killed. I saw pictures of them, and how they were very identifiable. And some of the Americans who were killed were black Americans. So I don't think anybody in Armenia is black. Maybe they are. I haven't been to Armenia, so I don't know for sure.
And this question comes in from Tom, and perhaps he needs it regarding Dr. Stan, and perhaps he should ask why Dr. Stan blames the U.S. primarily for the attack on the U.S. liberty, because he wants to know why. So perhaps he should ask Dr. Stan. But what do you think? How can I rephrase this? The U.S. I guess Dr. Stan believes that the U.S. primarily for the attack on the USS Liberty, when all the soldiers and serious investigators blame Israel acting on their own and the U.S. covering up after the fact.
Well, I did that kind of work, and I can tell you for sure the U.S. is in on it. It was a joint plan, and they didn't want the information that was coming off the Liberty to become public knowledge, because Israel was doing things that they said they were not doing. And they told the Americans, and the Americans said, well, we can't go in and bomb our own ship. You better do it. And that's what happened. They thought it would be a piece of cake, and it wasn't. In fact, people died, but a lot of people lived. I mean, the ship looked like a sieve. There were so many holes in it. And the ship was totally unarmed. So they knew what they were doing. And Israel does what it wants to do. They have encroached on other people's territory. I saw a map the other day of land that they've stolen. Yes, they did at the beginning pay for the land that they settled, on which Arabs had lived. But in recent years, the land that they're taking, they're just stealing it. And they just want to become bigger. And they want this Zionist stronghold, if you may. And they want to spread it all over the Middle East. It's obvious. And they're acting just like the Nazis did during the Second World War. And it's wrong. Absolutely wrong.
And we are out of time. 1-800-375-4188 for your complimentary issue. And, of course, your gold and silver coins. We'd be more than happy to review your portfolio. That was the other statement. There's people calling around asking to review your portfolio. Folks, you don't tell anybody what you have unless you initiate the phone call. And so give us a call if anyone is doing that, asking you. I had a customer who called me, told me that he thought perhaps I shared my customers' names, and of course not. We do not do that. We still hand type our invoices. So it's very important that if anyone calls you wanting to know what you've purchased, you do not tell them. And give me a call if that happens to you. 800-375-4188. We'll be back tomorrow. Wendy Wilson will be here, and we'll be back on Friday. So until then, be safe. Make it a great day. Thank you, and God bless. Good night, Bob.